All right.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we?
I guess if you want to, if you think they're pining to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. They're at least mapling.
I hate you so much. God, I hate you so much.
Welcome to the No Budget Filmmaking Podcast, presented by Cinema Summit, a podcast about the art of making films, no matter how small the budget. And now, here are your hosts, Alex Dark and Trevor L. Nelson.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. This is episode 47 of the No Budget Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Alex Dark.
And I am Trevor L. Nelson, and today we're going to be talking about casting.
That was our Oprah impression.
Yeah, what? You get a cast, and you get a cast, and you get a cast.
That's if Oprah was a doctor.
Yeah. Off to a smashing start already. I can't wait.
All right, but first, Trevor, what are we drinking?
We're back to the Coorsies. You know what? It is kind of one of those things where it's getting hot out now, and you know what? It's just nice to have an ice cold burr.
It is.
And
it is nice. It's refreshing. It's bubbly.
Yeah. You know, just got done with a little foods, and as is right to do, we had an after foods beer while we do our podcast.
That's right.
So yes, we are drinking the Coors. We're not complaining one bit. Refreshing.
Yes, indeed.
Delicious.
All right. Well, what's new? Oh, yeah, that's one aspect of our episode that we've poorly planned out. What's new, Trevor?
Well, we thought our sale of our equipment was going to be done, and
sad emoji.
Bueno. Sad emoji, thumbs down. What is it?
Turtle
circle
fart.
With turtle fart and circle with a line through it.
Yep.
Didn't happen. I can't figure this guy out who said he was going to buy some stuff.
Not some stuff, all stuff.
Yeah, all stuff. I just wonder if he was kind of stringing us along. I don't know. Alex swears he was legit.
Yeah, I looked him up.
About that.
I looked up his email address.
Okay.
And I found it on like a call sheet.
Okay.
Of a real show.
A real show.
So,
real life.
So I know he was a real person.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Okay.
I feel like what happened though is, it's two different perspectives. We have us coming from the perspective of receiving tons of emails and phone calls and texts from random people on Craigslist who are questionable in their legitimacy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Some
people fail to show up.
Yeah, that's
Some
a big
people
one.
show up and don't buy anything.
Yep.
So he wanted to buy everything, which is great, and we held it for him for about a week, and then I'm
going to say he flaked. He flaked.
Well, he didn't like ghost us. We just kept pressing him, and I think what happened was he got tired of being pressed, probably because it didn't fit within whatever his time frame was that he was not sharing with us.
Yeah, that was the annoying part, is that we had no idea what he was thinking. It was a Thursday, he said, it was a Wednesday, he said, hey guys, I'm interested. And we said, okay, well, let's meet up tomorrow. Actually, and we told him the price for everything if we were to sell it individually, and he came back with a price that was much lower than our total price, but was great for us. We were happy with it. And then he's like, all right, Thursday. Then nothing happened on Thursday, and at the end of Thursday, he's like, oh, time got away from me. How about, when else can I meet? And I was like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's like, great. Didn't hear a thing from him. Then we finally emailed him. He's like, I was going to have to wait till Monday. Great. Monday came around, nothing. Then Tuesday came around, and we're like, dude, we're turning people down. And if there's a chance you don't even buy this, like...
Yeah, we had at least 12 people.
12 people ask us to buy individual stuff, and we said no, we're trying to sell it all, and we'll keep you posted. Luckily, when we reopened the floodgates, they came trickling back. We already got 6 people that are coming.
I know one person just said they're coming in 15 minutes.
Oh, God, no way. What?
So if we have to pause... I'm sorry, there's no editing.
It's going to be a long 45-minute...
just a dead space where you'll hear us in the background making a sale.
Yeah, who is this person? Because we don't have any messages from them.
I know. They must have emailed us, and then... I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's Dave, or is it Amma?
I don't know. Don't know.
All right, well, we'll see.
Don't know. Should we pause right now?
I mean, before we get... Is there anything else that's new?
Let's see. What else is new?
We're still working on our slate. We're trying to pare it down. We have one person who's looking at some investors for us, and we're going to try and get them to maybe just invest in one movie rather than the slate. Because we realize that the slate is ambitious. Yeah, we're flexi. Flexi Bieber. And so that is basically where we're at. We're working on some other stuff, but mostly it's the sale now. The sales are a big thing. And but what else is new? We just ordered a GH5S.
That's right.
So we're pretty stoked about that, which is supposed to be to us tomorrow.
That's right.
We use some of the proceeds from our
current sale.
And
to purchase that, thanks to Panasonic for giving us the corporate discount.
Yeah, appreciate that. Love it. We're Panasonic for ride or die. Panasonic. But so we have the GH5S coming. Pretty excited. We got to get a lens for it. But that's going to be our B cam. Going to pair nice with the V35.
Yeah. Now we're debating: do we go primes or zoom? Now that the Vedra primes aren't available anymore.
Stolen and.
So that's kind of a bummer. There aren't really a whole lot of micro four thirds options other than like maybe CP3s, which are really expensive.
Super expensive.
But I found a couple lenses. There's the Fujinon MK
that one looks
zoom
sexy.
lenses that are soon to be natively in micro four thirds, but you can currently buy it in E-mount and then adapt it.
I say we wait, man.
There's also a couple Tokina ones, but they don't have the range, and they're not parfocal. There's a whole lot of strange things about them, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Fujinon Zoom.
Dude, I'm with you on that, man. The Fujinon Zoom looks muy bueno. And, I always make fun of the cameras that are super small that have a giant lens on them, and you kind of like the camera almost gets lost in the cage that you build around it.
Yeah,
this is going to be that case.
Absolutely,
but that's fine. I don't care. Give me 4K with that Fujinon all day.
All day.
So that's basically it. We're going to buy some tripods and stuff like that. We've made some money with our sale, and we're just slowly replacing equipment that we sold and rebuying. So yeah, we're stoked. We're going to be streamlining our operations here so we can pack it all into our two cars and shoot a feature if we want to.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a little break real quick. So hold on. Means we'll probably have another beer by the time we get back. But we got to go sell some stuff. This person just kind of jumped up on us.
All right.
We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Later.
And we're back, and you guys didn't even realize we were gone, did you?
Wow.
That's the power of editing.
Yeah.
It's been 4 days since we recorded the first part.
4 days since we've last seen another human.
Yeah. We've been surviving on beer and Cafe Rio. But it's been a delicious survival.
And prison.
All right, I'm glad that that's what life would be. Trapped in a box with me would be.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically. Have you talked to my wife or something?
Yeah, I have.
So let's move on to the main topic. So we sold some stuff, guys. Just a little side note. We sold some stuff, here and there. Some nibs and knobs, as they say.
So that's new. No one says that, but that's new.
It reminds me of, was it Horrible Bosses? Like, I'd like to bend her over a barrel and show her the 50 states. What's that? It's a saying. No, it isn't. Yeah, people say it. I'm going to start making phrases up here. Okay, but on to
the topic at hand.
The topic at hand, casting. I can't believe we haven't talked about casting yet.
I know. I think we've mentioned it in previous ones, but we're going to do a whole episode on it, guys.
Whole episode. Wow. You are going to be blown away by how little we know about casting.
Yeah, you are. Well, Trevor and I are experts because we were the sole people in charge of cast. Well, that's not true, okay, because the director eventually came in, but for the first round, it was just Trevor and I. We were producers, and we were in charge of casting. Both prepping the casting and getting people to submit, and also sitting in on the first round of auditions, narrowing it down for callbacks when the director would come in. So
that pretty much sums it up very well. Good job.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you. So we kind of had the whole deal with the casting for the daughter, and it all depends. Again, as we said before, it's project to project based. It's like how you're dealing with it. If you have a smaller budget, you're going to get into the debate of using a cast or using friends. Me and Alex have always kind of relied on friends for our earlier stuff, because it's kind of one of those things where a lot of the people we cast were also filmmakers, but also liked acting. So it was one of those things where if you act in mine, I'll act in yours, and then we'll do that.
Especially in school.
That's
what we did. And then later on, I started dating an actress.
Oh.
And You
started dating an actress? You mean your wife, the one you married?
Yeah, she's now my wife, but I started dating her, and then all of a sudden it opened up new avenues to meet actors because she was in an acting class, which had a pretty strong community of actors who were also like, you know, some of them are budding filmmakers trying to get out, but a lot of them are just trying to get out there and do stuff, but they're all really good.
And really down for doing things.
And really down for doing things.
Like, you know, they're willing to give up. The thing with when we were in school is that most of the time the people that would be willing to give up their weekends would be other filmmakers to act in your stuff because they know the struggles of finding actors who are in school and don't want to give up their weekends.
Yeah, and they just want to make stuff.
And when you're doing it on the super low budge, another phrase that people say.
It's not a phrase. You can just say things.
Actually, that's how it works, isn't it? That's how phrases are made.
No.
But when you're in a low budget situation, a lot of the times you're going to ask people to do it for no pay during their free time, and you want to find people who are passionate about just acting, or necessarily not just acting, but your project. And, you know, that is one way to get a cast.
Yes.
But then as you move on up, it's no longer asking favors. You have a little budget. You can start, paying. Do we say SAG? You start paying SAG rates, I guess.
Yeah.
You could start paying for people that you may not know.
SAG minimum for a lot of the lower budget and media contracts is $0.
There you go. Nailed it. We can afford that.
Deferred 150 or something. But
yeah. So what is the process? What does the process look like for, let's say you're no relation, like we did for the daughter. You don't know them. You're not using any actors in main roles that that you've worked with before, that you have any connection to in any way, shape, or form.
Right. So complete strangers.
So danger strangers.
It's going to be slightly different depending on where you're located. If you're in kind of like a larger area, you can use what is called, Actors Access or a service like that. We'll talk some more about those. But those are only available to actors in certain regions. Some of you might be using like Craigslist or whatever. Yeah. Or other, job boards. But the first step for any of them is to create breakdowns for each of the characters.
Yeah, and so this is where, we have said before in the past that you could kind of do film anywhere, especially when you're in the low budget and stuff like that. But when it comes to having a good group of actors at your disposal, a good pool to pull from, L.A., New York, Chicago, Hotlanta, now especially Vancouver, Austin. Those are kind of the hubs. New Orleans. Those are kind of the hubs of anywhere there's a strong theater scene. You'll usually find a really good crew.
Minneapolis. There is
a really good theater scene in Minneapolis. So don't knock it. You could actually find a lot of.
I'm the one that brought it up.
Yeah, I know. I think you said it sarcastically, but So the first step, Alex, is.
I said it, creating a breakdown.
I want you to repeat it because I cut you off.
Oh, okay.
For the rubber dub. That's another phrase. I'm going to piss somebody off this episode.
Creating a breakdown is extremely important. It's difficult. It's time consuming. So what you have to do is read the entire script, know all the characters, and create basically like a little paragraph description of the most important parts you want a person, like traits, whether they're emotional, physical, or whatever, that they need to bring to the character because it's part of the script.
Yeah.
Everything else, I would say, leave out. If it's not important to the script, leave it general so that you don't narrow it too much and like leave out some great actors who can bring their own thing to it. Yeah,
and I say that because I really focus on this because one thing is I have a great story. And it's kind of funny because we just shot an episode of Larry King Now about inclusion, about actors who are
such a great story.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm getting to it.
Okay.
The ding-a-ling is going to come out. I got to stop this. So we just shot an episode about inclusion with Larry King now about actors with disabilities. Like the son in Breaking Bad or the deaf black man in Baby Driver, and how like people. One, yes, if you have somebody, if your character has a disability, maybe hire somebody with that disability. But even still, if the breakdown doesn't say anything about not having a disability or like that they need to do something that a disabled person can't do, why not consider a disabled person? But the story I was coming to is, I don't know if you've heard this one, Lethal Weapon. They were casting that. They already had Mel Gibson, and they were testing out all these white actors for Riggs. And they were going through the process, and then the casting director, it was either the casting director or one of the producers, or maybe even the director, somebody higher up there said, wait a second, why are we only casting white guys? There's nothing in the script, and there's nothing in the breakdown that says it has to be white guys. Why are we only bringing white guys in? And they're like, holy shit, you're right. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't invite everyone to audition for this. So they invited, Danny Glover, and Danny Glover got the part. They opened the audition to him.
One of the greatest on-screen duos of all time.
God, I will second that. So that's the thing is like
actually, I mean, similar story, but for the youngsters. The same exact thing happened with the latest season of True Detective.
Really,
the Mahershala Ali part was written, I believe, for a white guy.
Okay,
and then Mahershala came in and was like, check this out, blam! And then we're like, oh my God, so good.
Damn it, we look like racist idiots.
Yeah, and then they cast him.
And I mean, that's why the breakdown, like Alex said, the breakdown leave out things that aren't super important to the role. Like maybe some of the dialogue in Lethal Weapon with Riggs' family, and maybe some of the dialogue in True Detective with Mahershala Ali's family changed just due to the race of the actor. But for the most part, it doesn't matter. Like that role.
And if you find a great actor, it's worth sort of like reworking the script a little bit.
Exactly. And so that's why if you're not too super specific, me and Alex have this script for a horror film that's an ensemble of a bunch of like 20-somethings. And it was like, well, it really doesn't matter what race they are. So let's just put the breakdown, the traits that they have and everything like that. Asian, black, Hispanic, white, it doesn't matter. And so if there's no reason that they have to be a specific race, don't put it in. Just don't put the things in that aren't necessary to the character.
Same with gender.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have to be a man or a woman, why not just leave it?
Yeah.
And
hate to break it to you guys, we're in the 21st century, so if it says the character's husband, it could still be a man or a woman. So don't be stupid.
Word. But so I think the one thing you do need to do is have a grasp of the story and make sure that the breakdown is clear enough to get whatever you need to get out of the actor from the breakdown. So that's kind of the main thing you have to worry about. But you want it to be short and sweet. You don't want to have like 5 paragraphs of character description. It needs to be like a short paragraph. And then do that for every character that you're casting. And that's kind of step 1 of the process. Do you have anything to add about the breakdown experience?
I would say, like you said, the traits, emotional and all that, make sure you are very clear on the traits if they're important to the character, because you want an actor to come in during the audition and really be able to, like, say the person is like quick to anger. Well, obviously you're going to choose a side that shows the anger, but if they don't know specifically how quick they are to anger or that they are quick to anger, they're not going to show that in the audition. And you're like, well, that was disappointing. So be very clear on what you're looking for in the character and what kind of range of emotions you're going to have to show, because they're going to want to show that during the audition to show they could do that for the entire movie.
Yeah, and then also don't leave things out that you think might deter an actor. For example, if you know that you have nudity, don't hide the fact that you have nudity, and then ask them in the audition, because a lot of people aren't okay with that, and so you've wasted their time by not letting them know up front. Also, don't try to oversell your project. Like if you're making $100,000 feature, let them know it's $100,000 feature. Like you don't want people to come in thinking that they're auditioning for like a $20 million movie because you've made it seem that way through your descriptions in the breakdown and stuff like that of your project. Now,
this is a very good question pertaining to the daughter. Did we have in the breakdown, I don't remember, there is a scene that when we were, for Dina, that there's a rape scene. Did we put that in the breakdown?
I have no idea, but there was no nudity involved.
Yeah. But you want to let them know. Like, I mean, if an actress has dealt with that, they may be traumatized and come in and you're asking them to...
I believe, actually, that was one of the audition scenes.
I think that was the scene. It didn't go into too graphics, but it was mostly just like brushing against their shoulder and all that and everything like that. And in all honesty, we've never done an audition where there's nudity in the film. So... I don't think I would say there was nudity. I would tell the actress there was nudity in the film, but unless there was a specific reason, I wouldn't ask people to like take off your shirt in an audition.
To derobe?
No, because like that is kind of like, that just makes it seem like you just want to see a bunch of naked chicks in an audition because there's no real reason. Like,
that's true.
I mean, like I that just screams casting couch to me, and I don't think I'd ever ask somebody to disrobe in.
Yeah, unless you have very specific.
Yeah, it's like the. Do you ever see that Friends episode where Joey goes for an audition? They ask him to be uncircumcised, so he tries out all the different lunch meats and silly putty and all that. Yes, like there might be a reason you need to disrobe, but for the most part, you don't need the actress or actor to disrobe during the audition because you know what, they may be comfortable doing it on a set with 3 people. You know, some actresses ask for the entire set to be cleared except for the essentials, but they may not enjoy it, especially in our situation for the daughter where we were taping the auditions to show the director because he couldn't be there on the first day. They might not be comfortable with being disrobing in front of a camera.
Yeah, they might with all them intro nips around that are spreading crazy images and stuff. But also, I'd say from what I've seen my wife experience, if there's nudity, a lot of times what they'll do is ask them to wear a bathing suit just so they can sort of see...
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, their figure or the body or whatever without being like fully nude.
I guess that's fine. That's fine.
You know,
I get it. And most of the time, nudity is going to usually be pasties on the nipples, so it's not really nudity. So you don't really need to get them nude.
Plus a nudity rider, holla. Okay.
So next up is now you gotta hold the audition. So now you gotta figure out a place that you want to. You know, sometimes you have to rent it out. Other times you can, find a place that will let you use it for free, especially like, if you know friends who are a part of an acting studio, you may be able to get them to pull you a favor and have the auditions held there.
Yeah.
But
there's also really great services like Peer Space is one. There's a few of them out there, but basically it's kind of like Airbnb for commercial properties. And again, I think it kind of is location dependent. I don't know exactly where they are, but if you happen to be in a spot where they have locations, it's usually by the hour. Sometimes there's a minimum, so it could be $50 an hour.
Hell, places that are even for rent. There are websites that are for like locations for film shoots, and if somebody's throwing up a location they have for a film shoot, that means they're okay with people going in there. And some places don't have a minimum of how long you have to be there. So you can rent out like a house for a day for like $200 and just hold the auditions there.
Yeah. Same with, photo studios often rent by the hour.
That's true too. Yeah.
You can get conference rooms by the hour sometimes.
When we did it for the daughter, we still had connections to USC and they let us use the, one of the theater rooms for the theater program.
Yeah,
we did the classroom. But now it's kind of popular, and it's a lot more popular, is just taping yourself. Everyone has a camera phone usually, and taping yourself and sending it in.
Yeah, and actually, it just makes so much sense.
So much more sense.
To me.
Yeah.
First of all, I have thoughts about the audition and casting process in general.
Tell me more.
Well, I just think it's kind of a foolish way of going about it because you're asking an actor to do a scene, to do one side of a scene.
Yeah.
You're filming one side of a scene and then playing it back, which is not how scenes go.
No.
So you as like the person casting and the director and the producer and all that have to look at that and decipher if they're good actors in a situation that's not similar to what they just did.
Yeah. And this is why it's a very common practice now these days. If you get an actor that you really like, an actor or an actress, you bring in like 5 of your finalists for a role opposite and do chemistry read. Chemistry read.
Yes.
And most people think that a chemistry read is for like love connections and all that. No, it's just to see, like, if say, you have 2 characters that are best friends, 2 guys, and you got an actor and you want to see how well they get along with the person you're going to cast for the opposite role of his best friend. You probably want a chemistry read to like see how they interact. Like if they hate each other, it's probably not going to play well on screen.
True. But also, not only that, you want them to be able to read off another actor that they're standing next to in a scene.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not the same walking into a room and seeing a person sitting behind the table who's supposed to be right in front of you, acting, opposite them while looking into straight into a camera that they are also not behind. I mean, it's just so weird.
This gives me a great example of, and this is like, there's so many great examples of this, because the audition process in Hollywood, but in the entertainment industry is just so ridiculous that they make fun of it so much. It reminds me of Barry, where Henry Winkler, he like walks into a room, it's a green screen with the camera, he walks in, he says, I can't believe how low these prices are, and then he does one more, he's like, okay, another reading, I can't believe how low these prices are, thank you. And he walks out, and that's it.
Yes.
He gives 2 options, and then he walks away. And it's like, that is it. Like,
yeah,
that's how much it is. It's just direct to camera, look at them, give your reading of the part, and then walk away.
Yeah.
And
then I think with virtual casting, first of all, the actor has the option to retake as many times as they want.
Exactly.
Which
is great, because people get nervous at the casting process.
Yeah, and also they just feel more comfortable in general because they're doing it on their own terms. And I think if you have friends who have some skills, you can make it look a little bit more like what it's supposed to look like, so that you can get an idea of what it's going to be like in reality, instead of being in like a white room. Yeah. Like, echoey white room or something. Do you
remember Nooch's friend Bertrand? Big, tall, redhead. He's this big, tall redhead. I mean, I'm like 6'4" or something like that. And for a while, he just had like a normal beard like yours, but then he grew like a full on like Game of Thrones beard.
Yeah.
And so he went up to the Angeles National Forest when there's so much snow up there, and he had a friend with a red, and he rented a full on Viking like uniform, and he shot like a monologue up there.
Yeah.
Just to show people. And it's like, that is cooler than just doing it in a room.
My God. Yes.
And and it looks awesome. And it's natural snow, it's not green screen or anything like that. But that being said, it's also one of those things where the audition is just how well you can connect with them as a character. Because if you're doing your due diligence, the people you kind of like, you'll look at their reel and see what they could do in an actual setting like that. Yeah. Because it is so hard to get a feeling from just their audition. I mean, I'm going to be honest, and this is a story I continue to say. When it came to the audition, it was all Alex and the writer-director were all for Alex's future wife. I was not. Luckily, they overruled me, and she got the part, and it worked out fantastic. And I can't say I'm responsible for Alex having a wife, but the audition is just a weird thing, especially when you have a lot of people looking at the audition is all making the decision, because some people like it, some people won't, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, and it's also, it comes down to a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Another reason I don't like just casting in general, it's like, like we were talking about with the breakdowns and eliminating people that, why are they eliminating those people? Sometimes it comes down to like, is the girl taller than the guy?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And they're like, okay, well, that girl's too tall. And like, what are you talking about? That kind of stuff bugs me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think when it comes to running your own auditions, I think it's good to have both options. let people submit online if they want to.
Yeah.
Let people come in if they want to. There is something about coming in and meeting people for experienced actors who know how to audition, because to me it's like
it's an art form. They have audition classes.
Skill.
You could take classes on how to audition.
Yeah. So it can be a good experience in that way, and you can have like the real connection with the people that you're reading with.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And also get direction. So that's one thing you can't get in the virtual audition is instant feedback from the director to do a take two.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's so right. And another reason that virtual is getting more and more popular is because after you figure out the location and the actors you want to bring in, you have to schedule the auditions. So you have to work within their schedule.
Yeah.
You have to sit around.
A whole deal.
I mean, we had auditions the first day when it was just me and Alex. We were sitting there for 6 hours. And how many auditions do we have?
My God. I can't even remember. We scheduled it every 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it just, we were sitting around most of the time.
Yeah.
Because people didn't show.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So it virtual is kind of the way to go, because if you're scheduling auditions, then you do it every 15 minutes. So the person has time to come in. They have time to talk to you. They have time to do their take on the role, and then you give them, if you like what they did the first time, you give them direction to make sure they can take direction.
Yeah.
And that is kind of about 15 minutes.
Yeah, and what you find ends up happening is you get certain times that are really light because people don't show up, but then they'll show up late at a different time, and you have like the popular times that are just slammed with people.
Yep.
Back to back, and then they're trying to get out and go to the next one. It's like a whole thing. And you also need like multiple people. You know, you need someone at the door signing people in. Otherwise, it's like a free for all, and you can't have that. You got to have like a system in place where people can walk in, get on a list, so there's an order. Otherwise, there will be some fists thrown. Yeah,
especially if you don't have anybody who is at the door. You'll be in the middle of audition, especially if the room is very well soundproofed, and somebody will just open the door.
Sure, because they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do, and they don't know if this is the right room. There's no window so they can look in and that kind of stuff. So it's like...
Yeah, I'd say at the very least, and what we did, because it was just me and Trevor on the first day, was put a sign up that says, sign in here and we will
sit your ass down.
Yeah.
Sit your ass down, we'll come get you.
Exactly.
Stop being all crazy. So yeah. And so it almost is like... the more and more we do it, well, not only do you need people for calling people in, but then you need readers. You need somebody to sit there and read lines, and for the most part, they're not actors.
Right. You should get someone who's an actor.
Yeah.
In theory, because the actors are going to work better off of them. They're actually going to give them things to feed from and like make their performances better and all that kind of stuff.
Like an impromptu chemistry read, Alex, was like we were saying earlier.
Yeah. But alternatively, if you have someone who's just like flat reading the lines terrible, then you're gonna, perhaps damage their potential performance and like
their confidence.
And their confidence.
And that's another thing that people make fun of. Is just like this. Yes, I love you. And it's just like this flat monotone reader, and they're like, "Oh, son of a." This doesn't help me. These are all things that you have to worry about if you're doing a physical audition, and that's why
you have also someone behind the camera if you are taping it.
Yeah.
So there's potentially a lot of people that you need to do an actual audition.
And the more people you have that are just sitting there staring at an actress or an actor who is amazing at their skill, but aren't really good at auditioning, which you hear from people like, "Oh, I'm really good in class, but I suck at taking tests," that kind of thing. You have 6 pair of eyes staring at you when you're doing an audition, and you are already not confident because you get nervous. That's just going to screw you up even more.
I'm pretty sure Robert De Niro has claimed that he's a terrible auditioner.
Yeah, and look at him.
I believe it. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah,
and it is its own thing. It's not like acting.
No, not at all.
It's on camera. It's totally different.
Yeah, so somebody could be great, a master performer, but when they get in the audition room, they just clam up because they
don't know what to do. They don't know the tricks.
Yeah, they need to feed off people. Their training. It all depends on your training. If your training is to feed off people and to feel the energy in the room, one thing could go wrong and just throw you off your game. And like we said, taping, like a camera pointed right at you gets people nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
Even if you're auditioning to be in a movie or a TV show, a camera pointed right at you, especially in this day and age when it's like, what's going to happen with this tape? It's
yeah. It's just going to end up on YouTube. Well, also, so just a little tip. I think it's a good idea to create an email address specifically for the audition process.
This is for actors now.
No.
JK.
No, definitely
we don't talk about actors in this one.
This is for you, the filmmaker. Mm-hmm. You make an email address that's like Prison Ghostbusters, the movie, at gmail.com.
Wait. Don't give away a horror film.
I know.
Come on.
And so you make that Gmail address so that when
18th Century Ghostbusters, the movie, Gmail.
Yeah, exactly. So when you sign up for like these platforms we're going to talk about next, and you start getting submissions, it's all going to the same place. It's not getting buried in other emails that are your personal emails or your business emails.
You can easily organize it with labels of like yes, no, rejection, like let's rethink this.
You can star things. You can search for things inside there and find it. You know what I mean? So it's just a way to organize that type of stuff, especially if you're doing multiple platforms. If you're going on like Actors and Access.
Whoa, easy there. Don't give away the next section.
And you post to Craigslist, you're going to get like direct submissions through Craigslist, but on Actors Access, you're going to get notifications about submissions.
Exactly.
And you're going to have to go through it in the platform. Anyway, on to the next.
Speaking of platforms, before we move on to platforms, most places that are doing live, in-person auditions are also doing taping them because other people want to see it. And sometimes, we'll talk about this later, if it's a casting director and the director's not even involved in the audition process, they're going to send those tapes to the director and say, hey, these are our 5 finalists. And the director, if they're big enough, aren't even in the room or don't ever see the actor in person.
Yeah.
And so they have to send the tape. So most of the time, you're going to have to bring a camera,
It's true.
tape it.
Actually, it's a good point to bring up. If you're in the LA area, and I would assume the New York area, they have specific facilities geared towards casting. There's a lot of them in LA.
That's true.
And they just have little rooms, whatever you rent them out. But also what they do, which I didn't know this, it's fascinating to me. Okay. But I was talking to someone that I know who participates in the coordination of auditions.
You can sleep there for $5 a night?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's like one of those Japanese closets.
Closets. Okay. Continue.
They have a camera in the room, and that's it. But
you're behind
But they have a feed running out to a different room where there's directors, producers looking at monitors, and then they can speak directly to the camera operator to ask for any like adjustments or anything.
That seems kind of weird.
It's a little weird
because
it does one thing that I think is interesting in that as a director, the relationship between like the director and actor, in that you're not going to be seeing the actor in person. It's not like a theater production, right? So as the director, you would probably want to see them on a monitor to see how they look on camera.
That's
right?
true. Yes.
So that makes sense.
That does. But again, you have the reel to look at. But it's just relying on this cameraman. Now, if they are like, career cameramen.
They are trained for 15 minutes
I was gonna
before
say.
they go in.
But if they are, they do this.
Given a pamphlet?
Yeah, on how to direct actors. But see, that's the thing. It's like a camera guy has to relay what he's saying. And it's just it seems just cold. And just kind of like even worse of an audition.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. That could have been only one spot. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But
I
do
wouldn't
know,
be surprised.
I do know there's other facilities out there that utilize all sorts of newfangled technology.
Robots
and tablets and whatnot.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, so on to platforms.
Where you can find your actors.
We mentioned Actors Access. I think that's probably one of the biggest, like, nationwide ones. Mm-hmm. They're linked up with Breakdown Services, which is the same company or whatever that sends out, like, the legit Hollywood movie and TV series info to agents and stuff.
Yep.
But Actors Access is for anyone. Any actor can sign up for a profile. They create their profile, put their headshots up, add their resume and all that, and then any filmmaker can add their project. It doesn't matter whether it's union or not, or paying or not.
Yep.
You do have to submit and interact with a real person who sort of screens everything, and then they help you, make it the best how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then from there, you start getting submissions on the back end, which you'll just see an array of just hundreds of headshots. And they have, they have their own system where you can sort of like star them and rate them like with 5 stars, 4 stars, or whatever. Yeah. And you can look at the reels in there. And if you do want to do virtual submissions, you can do them in Actors Access as well as an additional service.
Yep.
Do
you know? It's been a while since I've been on Actors Access. Can you still, as a director or somebody who is in charge of a producer in charge of a project, just browse the list of actors and like search based on your criteria? So. Okay, so they have to submit to you.
Yeah. You
can't just be like, you know what? I'm looking for a woman who's under 5'8" with mousy brown hair.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
That'd be very helpful.
That would be.
Yeah. Get on it, Actors Access.
So in addition to Actors Access, there's LA Casting.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming is LA only. But I don't know.
I would think so. Don't know for sure. That'd be pretty dumb if it was only LA. Like the name brand, like it's like LA Fitness is all over the country.
Right. It might be LA Fitness's casting department. I don't know.
For all their commercials?
Yeah.
I would say that, let's see, it's San Francisco, the UK, and Australia.
Look at that.
So it is US. So it's just, it's part of what they call casting networks. And so there's LosAngelesCasting.com, SanFranciscoCasting.com, CastingNetworks.co.uk, CastingNetworks.com.au, and CastingNetworks.com, which is all of the U.S. But they have one specific for L.A. casting.
Yeah. And then there's Casting Frontier, which is kind of a newer one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's Mandy.com, which is where you can find film gigs as well as acting, voiceover, and all that kind of stuff. IMDb actually has casting notices.
Of course they do, now that they're owned by Amazon.
And, yeah, you can post it up. You can submit. It's all kind of the same.
I mean, and IMDb helps you also. I would recommend looking into it, because if you're posting it up in IMDb, it makes like a page for your movie.
Sure.
And
I
don't know. I think
maybe
it does.
Not. I think you can submit a project that doesn't even have an IMDb page.
But I think an option is to make an IMDb page, which a lot of people look at as like a sign of legitimacy.
Sure.
Except you sent me one the other day that showed no signs of legitimacy, even though it was IMDb.
None.
Yeah.
If you're an actor in LA, your manager and agent will probably make you get an Actors Access, LA Casting, and Casting Frontier account.
And then there's always Craigslist.
Craigslist is...
It's Creep City, man.
Okay, I love Craigslist for many things.
Yep.
Even jobs.
Yep.
But man, is casting ultra sketchy on Craigslist.
It's anything that's human interaction is super sketch.
I've done it as a former actor. I've gone on the Craigslist auditions, and
I guess look at it this way: like if they don't. If they can't afford to be on actors, like there's some things you just have to put up for if you are putting on a movie, that even if it's no budget.
Yeah.
And so if it's not...
Actors Access is free for filmmakers.
And so you have to pay a thing for Mandy.
And
you have to I think you have to pay for Casting Frontier. I don't know. It's too new for me. I haven't really used it that much. But Craigslist, if they're just throwing out free ads, that's rough. It's like those posters you see all over town where it's like, work from home and make $758 a week. It's like, here's the number.
I feel like you're better off going with one of the real ones. First of all, because you're going to get
better actors.
You're going to get, it's going to be organized in a way that's beneficial to you in your process. You're not going to be sifting through a ton of crazy emails from people.
Yeah, like Steve, who wants to be an actor. but doesn't know how to do it, but he just looked on Craigslist.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth it, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not that much work to get it up and running. It's really not.
Yeah.
And I do believe it's free for most of them because the way they make their money is from
The
getting
hopes and dreams of actors.
To pay for it.
Yeah.
And because that's the case, they want as many projects on there as possible.
I guess you're right. Yeah, that does make sense. I know Mandy you have to pay, but Casting Frontier, I haven't used it, so I don't know if legitimately if it's. I thought it was some money, but I don't know if that's true. But maybe not. And there's other ways to find great actors. One of them is to go to performances. Now, this is very true in New York. LA is like bashed for its bad theater scene. It's not really that bad. Don't let people tell you otherwise. You can find some really great plays here, local plays. You know, you're going to see your traveling Broadway shows, and those people are probably already locked in with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
but you want
got their things going on.
Yeah, you want the local theater scene. That's one reason Alex brought up. I don't know if that's the reason he did. Minneapolis, because Minneapolis has the third most theater seats per capita behind New York and Chicago. So there's always theater going on there. It's actually funny is I was in a play one summer, The Music Man, and one of the women who was in it auditioned for a like NFL Sunday like a 15-minute film that went before the game of the week for the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. And so you know, it happens. And so you go look at go to performances, go to you know, something in the vein of what your script is. You know, go to a comedy. We just had Rita Wilson on. Yeah. And her famous story, she went to a one-woman show, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, with Nia Vardalos, and she saw it. It was amazing. She asked to meet with her after. They had dinner or lunch or coffee, wine, cocaine, I don't know. And she said, "Oh my God, I'd love to make this into a movie." She's like, "I have a script," threw the script down, and she had Rita Wilson on board to produce it. So it's like, there you go. Like, how awesome is that?
Super awesome.
Yeah.
I'd say another way is taking classes. I know, for example, the theater company that my wife was going to, they offer classes for directors too.
Yeah.
And you work with all the actors. You're in the same class as the actors, but you're kind of putting up scenes in a different way because you're directing instead of acting. But that's a great way to meet actors and see who you like in person, like as people, friends, collaborators, and actors. So it's like a really good way, I think, to go about that.
And there's a reason that you tend to see the same actors in directors' movies time after time is because they work with them once and they continue to work with them because they just love them so much.
Really like them.
Yeah. Nathan Fillion and most of
Wes Anderson?
No, I was going to say Wes Anderson.
Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon. There we go. Joss Whedon's movies.
Same with Johnny Depp in Tim Burton's movies. Yeah,
there you go. Another option is to hire a casting director. We did this for a short that we produced during. I was just graduated from college. You still had a year left. It was a.
I think you still had a year left.
No,
because it was my sophomore year.
You sure about that?
Pretty sure.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe not.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hired a real casting director who had real credits and connections with agents and stuff like that. And that
led to some decent named people for a student film.
Yeah, so we had Mr. Turner from Boy Meets World in there.
We had from, God, what is that movie?
Commando. Is that
yep. I'm looking it up right now.
Vernon G. Wells.
Vernon G. Wells.
The villain from Commando.
Yep.
The greatest villain of all time because he wore a chainmail vest.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah.
And he wielded a boot knife.
Yeah. Oh, his death scene is still one of the best death scenes ever.
So good. I think he was also in Mad Max or something.
Oh, let me see. I have it up. Let me see. Vernon Wells. He was in, oh my God, he's a beast of a man, and he's fantastic. I love it. Oh my God. He is in, wait for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 projects that are either completed, post-production, filming, pre-production, or announced.
Wow.
But he was in, let's see.
Dude's on fire.
Dude, yeah, I mean, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who knows which one, 6 Feet Down Under, The Horde. I mean, he's been in so many. He's just the guy who's always a working actor. He will just take a role. But we also had Mr. Jack Betts from Spider-Man, 8mm, Gods and Monsters, Batman and Robin as party guest.
Yeah.
So the hiring of the casting director was A, to help the process because we were all just students, and B, to kind of get the connections to bigger name people who we may not be able to have a connection to because we were just film students.
Yeah.
I swear to God it was after my senior year because it was supposed to be spring break my senior year, but then it got pushed back. And I remember on graduation day, or my family was in town, and it was either the day before or after graduation, I was making phone calls for it. I could have sworn.
Maybe it was right after because it was right before I shot Seer.
Yeah.
Which I guess...
Yeah, that was
That was my junior year?
No, wasn't Seer after The Daughter?
No.
No, that's right. Oh, that's right, because Angus wanted me to be first AD on that because of being first AD on Wonderful Death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who knows? It's all blur. It's all blur.
It is.
But that is one thing you can do. You can hire a casting director. They have connections with the agents and all that, and so that might increase your chances of getting a bigger name star, even if you have a lower budget.
Yeah, and then as a last resort, I suppose, you could send directly to an actor's representation.
You know what? It's a long shot. It's funny. Bill Murray doesn't have an agent. He just has a 1-800 number that you call to get...
Yeah, you got to pitch him on it.
Yeah, I got to pitch him on it, and he may or may not listen to it. I think Coppola, who's the daughter?
Sophia
Coppola called him, I think, 25 times about Lost in Translation. And just kept leaving messages, and he never listened to them, and he finally did, and that's history. But if you do get an IMDb Pro account, a lot of the times they'll tell you who the representation is for the
actor.
For the actor, and you can get an email address, and you can,
or a phone number and call.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're really tricksy, you can pretend to be your own manager and do that.
I did that for a little bit. I created a website for Alex's wife and for our friend John's wife, DSG Management. So it looked like they had management. And I
have momentous talent.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Momentous talent. I like that. Dang, I think I still have DSG. That was Dragon, Sticky, and Malibu.
That's right.
What it was. We were in London, New York. No, London, Chicago, and Los Angeles. I didn't do that bougie New York.
I think Momentous is in New York and also Vancouver.
Of course it is. So yeah, that's kind of the ways to go through casting. It's a tricky process because as much as they hate to say it, even if your story's great, it lives and dies by the acting. And so
yeah.
If you feel you got the directing chops and the filmmaking chops, but you don't get good actors because your process of picking the actors was skewed, you're gonna have a bad film. People tend to notice bad acting, and then they blame the director sometimes. Of like, oh, that's just the director.
And I've heard a lot of directors say that the majority of directing comes down to casting.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, if you find the right actors who you can kind of just let go to do their thing, and they're that good. It just makes your life easier. You've done most of the work, as a director working with actors anyway.
Yeah.
And so then you can focus on other things.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, so that'll about do it for this whole main subject. So now we're going to get to the what's cool. So Alex, you can start us off.
Alrighty then. Alrighty, I'm going to start with the Adamus Shinobi SDI.
We're pretty stoked about this.
Super stoked about this. It is in response to feedback about the Adamus Shinobi HDMI, which was HDMI only. This one has both HDMI in and SDI in and out.
Ooh, in and out. I like in and out.
Which is great. And it's one of their monitors only.
Yep.
So no recorders, no fan noise.
No fan noise, which is one of the things we don't like about the Adamus, but...
It's a 1920 by 1080 touchscreen, which is kind of cool. So I've used the Shogun and all that, and I've used other products like Small HD.
Yeah.
I like the touchscreen of the Shogun a lot. The Small HD gets kind of annoying with like the little joystick and like different pages of stuff.
Yep.
So I don't hate on the touchscreen, although it's one of those things that could fail.
Yeah, exactly. That's which I don't like.
Which I don't like.
But what I do like also about the Adamus Shinobi is we had this issue when we were shooting our pilot, and that is like the small HDs tear through batteries. We were trying to do batteries every probably 45 minutes. We had to switch out batteries. This, they say, if you are on standby, you can do it all day. But if you have a big, beefy Sony battery, you can do a 6-hour shoot with one battery, which, huge. That's awesome. Like, give me that. Like, all day.
I like that a lot.
Love that a lot. Love that a lot.
Also, it's 10-bit, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bright. Let's see. How many nits was it?
You're a nit.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. It's 1,000 nit.
Ooh.
Wait, is that right? I don't know.
We like this. We like the look of this so much that we switched out from our gear list of what we're going to buy with everything, all the money we get from selling. That we switched out the small HD 5s for the Shinobis because we're
the 503s,
the 503s,
which are nice.
Nice.
But yeah, we switched out for this one.
Yep.
It has the Atom HDR mode, which I really like.
Yeah, I like that
for
too.
Our camera. And it supports log formats, and you can load LUTs.
Mm-hmm. Through an SD card, so you don't have to hook up anything via USB. So, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it looks great. It has like the little rubber guard around it, like usual.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Big fan.
2, please. Adamus, if you're listening to this, 2, please.
2, please.
I got that. Okay, me and Alex, if you listen to this podcast, we were fans of horror. We're fans of sci-fi. Guess what we're even more fans of? Horror sci-fi.
Oh, my God.
A high school in New Jersey did their class play Alien. Mm-hmm. And they did all the costumes and sets and props out of recycled materials, and it looks sick.
Yeah.
The Xeno Queen, the Xenomorph Queen, looked pretty cool. They looked really cool. They did a really good job. Love it. Love Alien. And I think Ridley Scott and Sigourney Weaver reached out and was like, you guys killed it. Like, awesome.
So cool.
Awesome. So I
saw the face hugger pop out of the egg. Oh. It was pretty great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's a link to the article about it. But if you just do New Jersey high school Alien class play, you'll see some really cool footage that'll make you go, damn it, these kids are awesome.
I feel like they probably didn't get the rights, though.
No, probably not. No. But whatever. I mean, Ridley Scott, if he likes it, then it's like, it's one of those things like here's the deal. They could pay for the rights. They could not pay for the rights and just do it just to give you publicity. I mean, it's a 20-year-old movie.
Yeah. Or
they could just be like, well, the rights are too expensive. We're going to pass. And so it's like, why won't you just give it to them? They're not trying to make $1 million off it. They're just trying to pay for their next performance. Like, let them do it. Let them do it. And it's awesome. I think that was so sweet. All right. What do you got?
All right. The Alexa Mini LF.
What does LF stand for, Alex?
Large format.
Oh, okay.
It was just announced.
Yeah.
So it's the large format Alexa LF sensor in the Alexa Mini body.
Yeah.
Which is cool. All you guys who are familiar, the Alexa Mini is like got the same goods inside a smaller package for a little bit of gimbal work.
That's about me.
Yeah, it's true. I've heard her. So, it's Netflix approved, of course. Ultra HD up to 60 frames per second. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it uses codex compact drives, which they say are cost efficient, but are not.
No, they're not. Compared to what is the question?
Yeah, compared to like a CF card? No, not at all. Let's see. It's got a new viewfinder.
Okay.
High resolution, high contrast viewfinder.
Love it.
Internal motorized ND filters.
Okay.
It's great.
Nice.
Love that. And then a wide input voltage range for operation with standard 12-volt V-Lock and gold mount batteries.
All right. Not bad. I mean, pretty Alexas are still the unicorns of the filmmaking world. Everyone wants an Alexa. Everyone wants to shoot on Alexa. It's all about Alexa. And so I think that's cool. Of course, it's going to cost a shitload, but hey, large format Alexa color scheme. I love it. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Let me see if there's a price on here. Is there a price?
I thought there was. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to be announced at NAB. the price.
Maybe.
It probably will be because, of course.
So the codex drives, by the way, are 1,940 euros.
I hate you.
Which is
I hate you.
kind
and
of
then you need the reader, and then
the reader and the adapter.
It does have the PL to LPL adapter, which is cool for the lenses, and a built-in microphone for syncing. But everything's so expensive.
So it says in this particular article, a workable Alexa Mini LF package is probably going to set you back at least 70 to 80,000 US dollars. So
yeah, because
it's quite a lot.
Yeah, whew.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, people love their Alexas.
So
yeah, but I think it's getting too saturated in the market. We had a friend who bought an Alexa thinking he was going to rent it all the time and didn't. Now he's forcing it around upon people.
To be fair, he bought an Amira, which was a big mistake.
Yeah,
because they're the same camera, but you can't say it's an Alexa.
Yeah, and that's what people want. I got the Lumix S1 upgrade. So they Panasonic announced a while ago that they're going to do a firmware upgrade on the Lumix S1. Now, they didn't say when it was going to happen, but now they've released it's going to be in July. Now, a little pet peeve of mine, bristle my feathers a little bit. It's a paid upgrade, so you have to pay for it to be upgraded and unlock features, which it sounds like the features are already in the camera. It's just unlocking it.
Yeah, it's just a line of code again.
Somebody hack it, please.
Flashback.
Yeah, no, actually,
the Sony F5.
Since we were able to get such good corporate pricing for our GH5S, don't hack it. Pay it, Panasonic. They're a great company.
Exactly, they are.
Pay. But what it does is it unlocks 422 10-bit 4K 24p 30p internal video recording, 422 10-bit 4K 60p HDMI output, and full vlog recording. So nice. You'll be able to unlock some more features for your Lumix DC S1 mirrorless camera, and they said that's going to be dropping in July, but as was when they first released the news of the firmware and didn't give you a time, they're not releasing the price. So it's unknown how much this will cost to upgrade your camera. But look for it if you're a Lumix S1 owner.
Or potential owner.
Yeah.
All right. I saw Sony announced the 4K RX02 Mark II, which is this cool Sony's little. It's not really a GoPro competitor because it's not really an action camera, but it's that size, and form factor. It has a little Zeiss 24 millimeter lens, which is cool. It's not as wide. It's not like fishy like the GoPro. But it's wide enough to get some good stuff. And it has this new version, the 4K version. Has a little flippy screen.
Ooh, a flippy screen. They don't have many of those.
To where you can see it when you're shooting yourself. Because they're marketing this towards vloggers. It's like a little vlogging camera.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's super small, super portable. Records 4K internally,
not bad.
30p.
Not bad.
With S-Log, too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It has in-body stabilization. Now, it's not as good. I've seen some footage.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the new GoPro stabilization.
Yeah, which really killed it.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
But, good for walking around.
Yeah.
It has an external microphone jack, which the GoPros do not, which is a mystery to me.
And it can actually use an external recorder?
It can?
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, you're right.
Uncompressed 4K output? What?
Yeah, crazy. And it's waterproof up to 33 feet.
Wow.
And you can shoot, like 960 frames per second, but in SD, I think. I think you can shoot 120 or 240.
Okay.
In HD.
Not bad.
Now, the one drawback, I looked at all the videos and stuff for this. Oh, also, I'll mention it has like a cool grip that you can, like an accessory you can get for it. That's a grip that has record function and and zoom.
Oh, nice.
A zoom rocker.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And then the grip flips out into a small tripod.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. So I like it a lot for vlogging and that type of stuff. It seems to be great. The one sort of drawback I can see to it is it doesn't have autofocus. In that you can autofocus before you start recording by half pressing the record button. But then once you start rolling, you can't. It doesn't adjust focus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a fixed focus at that point, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But if you're just vlogging and holding it out at yourself, and it's, it's an f4 lens, so, for the most part, it shouldn't be too bad. But you can still get some good depth of field, which is nice.
Cool.
Anyway, it's a pretty cool little thing, and they make some accessories for it where you can like add ND filters and do all sorts of crazy stuff.
It says you have to get a cage for it, ND filters.
Yeah.
But I did notice it's only 35 minutes of recording time, which sucks, and it's almost twice the price of a GoPro Hero 7 Black.
That's correct.
That's crazy.
It's $700.
Yeah, compared to the $400.
Yes.
Okay. It's still a cool option, though. I do like the flip-out monitor. That is cool. That's
cool.
A huge thing.
That's one thing that GoPro, I think, has always sucked at is their monitor.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And also, I personally have never, ever loved the GoPro user experience. It's like single button to push, and you have to push it multiple times to cycle through menus, and then there's like a back button that's not actually a back button. So it's like you hit the menu button, and then you hit the menu button again to like cycle through, and then you hit the record button to like enter, and it's like, why aren't there just like dedicated buttons for navigating the menu?
Come on, I can figure this out. Why can't you, GoPro?
Jeez.
I know.
Anyway, so I don't know. It's interesting, kind of cool.
Yeah, no, very cool, very cool. I got my last one is the Lupo Super Panel Dual Color 60. So the Lupo came out with the Lupo Super Panel 1x1 and in 2016, and it was super bright. So now they just released their 2x1, and it's a dual color. So it does the spectrum between 3200 and 5600. It can be run off batteries, and it's pretty light. It's not like your Sky Panel weight. And here's the kicker. When it is 5600K at a distance of 1 meter, wow, I really stumbled on that meter. 1 meter, there we go. It is 69,000 lux.
1 meter?
At 1 meter.
All right.
That's pretty bright.
It's pretty bright, but I mean, 1 meter.
Yeah, that's at 1 meter. But I mean, I'm trying to figure out what
most photometric things start at like 3 meters. But yeah, a lot of them do that. The 1 meter test.
Yeah.
I think you could get like a flashlight to be like 10,000 lux at 1 meter.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the comparison to the Sky Panel is. I forget. 10,000 at 1 meter. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's 6 times as bright as a Sky Panel, which is crazy. Now, of course, Sky Panel has.
I wonder though, because again, like, do they have the whole photometrics laid out? Because I wonder what the fall off is like, at 3 and 5 and 10 meters.
Yeah, let me see if I'm looking here. Foot candles, 5,700.
It kind of looks like the light panel Astra, but like 2 of them side by side.
Yeah, and well, you can actually do half and half, so you can make it a 1x1.
Interesting.
If you have a battery only on one half of it. But yeah, so I mean, I can't see the full fall off of it, but it's pretty freaking bright, and for the price compared to a Sky Panel, not bad.
Not bad.
And it can run off batteries very easily. It comes with you can buy a bunch of accessories for it. It's $1,790 for the 2x1. So like a soft panel 1x2 or 2x1 is $1,900. Kineflow Celeb is $2,800. So that kind of stuff. But it's not RGBW, which sucks, and almost shocking that that people are still making only bicolor. But
yeah,
sucker's bright. It
is bright.
So
very interesting.
Yeah, the people seem to be impressed by the output of it, especially when it's hooked up to batteries. So,
oh,
yeah,
nice. I like it. I do wonder, This is a thing with lots of LEDs out there, including the Hives that we have.
Yep.
Just looking at this fixture, you can see 2 large fans on the back.
Yep.
So I wonder how loud those are.
I know. I don't want. I mean, granted, if it's that bright, you might be able to pull back a little bit and not get the noise pickup.
True.
But I mean, I hate fans, but you got to cool them somehow.
Yep.
Yep. All right. You got one more?
I got one more.
Oh, I'll get it.
One more. Okay. So, those of you who are gimbal fanatics have probably noticed all the single-handed gimbals that have been coming out. Well, Tiffin, the people who now own Steadicam, have made the Tiffin SteadyMate S, which is for single-handed gimbals, and it's basically a vest and arm like a regular Steadicam, and a small, like half sled weight system that you can attach to your single-handed gimbal to create like a combo Steadicam gimbal experience.
Cool. That's really cool.
Which is cool. It's like the super high-end Steadicams these days do have gimbals on them, and they can hold like Alexas and like big cameras and whatnot. So this is kind of like, it seems, the prosumer version of that.
That's cool.
Which could be cool for a lot of people if you're into that type of deal. I'm starting to myself sort of lean towards the idea of just having a regular Steadicam. From all the stories I've heard over and over again about people using like the Ronin or the Movi and it just failing on the set and they can't even use it.
I mean, we just sold our Osmo and it was giving us headaches.
Yeah.
Or remember when we went and shot that VR stuff with Brandon?
Yeah, they couldn't get the Ronin to work.
They couldn't get the Ronin to work because they had 3D print. They were doing like a 360, so they had 2 GoPros next to each other, back to back, with fisheye lenses that would take all 360. Each would take 180. And the thing that they had 3D printed wasn't heavy enough. So as it was correcting to self-balance, it would then overcorrect because it didn't have enough weight to hold it down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the kind of stuff that I'm just like, man, I'm kind of with you. I think maybe just a Steadicam would be much better than I mean,
dealing
again,
with all that headache. It's like, it's mechanical.
Yep. Computerized.
Yeah, versus like computerized. So there's bound to be like software issues, failures in like the electronics, whereas if you don't have the electronics, that's just one less thing to fail.
And we worked 3 hours to try and excuse me, tried 3 hours to update the firmware on the Osmo.
Yeah.
And it just like
absurd. And then also we used to have back in the day, you may remember, I think they still make stuff, Defy, which was known for like their cable cams. We used to have their G5, which was one of their early movie competitor gimbals. And that was cool.
Yeah.
Worked for the most part, but we sent it off with one of our friends to shoot a production while we were out of town, and something in the electronics box just kind of like collapsed in. So like it was the power cord. It was the mini USB port.
Yes. It just by
pushed
too much.
in.
Yeah, by pushing too much, putting too many cables into it, it bent and fell into the box.
Yeah, and so it was useless at that point. I mean, we were able to fix it, but for them, it was a day of not being able to use the gimbal.
Yeah. And it's so stupid. And I think I'm going more and more towards a Steadicam, like you said, because these things fail. I mean, didn't we?
We just rented our
Easy Rig.
Our Easy Rig to a guy who was going to use it with a Ronin. He returned it to me. I said, "Hey, how'd the shoot go? Or how'd it work out for you?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know. We couldn't get the Ronin to work, so I never used it."
There you go.
It's like that's just the never-ending story of gimbals.
Maybe someday down the line they'll be like foolproof, but man, that just sucks.
Yeah.
Like the more things get complicated, the more cooler they are, the more they have working behind the scenes that could fail.
Yeah.
That's why the Shinobi worries me. That touchscreen fails, you're SOL.
That's true. However, I think buttons also fail.
That's true.
I have a GoPro right now where one of the record button doesn't work. It's great.
Fantastic.
Great.
It's for sale. It's for sale.
It's a physical button.
Yep.
You can actually use the touchscreen on the little touchscreen backpack, and that works, but not the physical button. So there you go.
It is for sale if you guys want to purchase it.
Yep. Also, I think that's why, as much as I love LED stuff, there is something about tungsten because it's just so simple. It's like 3 wires to a socket with a bulb.
Yeah.
And that's if why it breaks, you can easily fix it. Like, I'm not really electronically proficient, but I fixed like 5 of them. Yeah. And they work fine.
And I mean, look at what happened when you had the HMI that you tried to fix. You almost shocked yourself.
My gosh.
But at the same time, that's why tungsten still sells. We were able to buy tungsten super cheap from a institute that was going out of business, Brooks Institute. Yeah. And we were able to sell it for so much more than we bought it for because people still want tungsten.
Yeah, and it's great.
Tungsten,
I mean, when you're talking about CRI, you can't beat it.
Nope.
Color rendition is great. It's just hot and inefficient.
That's and you can't run off of power, and that it doesn't work for, no-budget filmmakers, but it's still the best.
It's great. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that'll do it. But man, now I'm all depressed about the stuff we're going to buy. So I'm just going to break and be useless.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. You can get the show notes for this episode by visiting nobudgetfilmmaking.com/episode 47.
And don't forget to hop on over to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. And while you're there, give us a 5-star rating if you feel so inclined.
And if you have any filmmaking questions, we're still waiting for more questions so we can do a whole episode of questions. Ask away in the comments.